This is Umar, IFL Umar, for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm joined by Jimmy Mack Jr.
Umar, IFL Umar, how are we?
Good. Good that you've been watching Tyne's videos.
I have. Do you know what? I've seen a couple of them, and he's always got words of wisdom for you.
Always. Anyways, James just done his media workout. Looks in good shape. How's he been sort of in camp?
Yeah, really good. Obviously, you can see by the shape he's in that he's worked hard for it. Yeah, he's just been training smart. As he says, like, I don't want to keep going on like a parrot, but he is injury-free. And I think you can see that today, like just by the way, like how fast and crisp his shots are, how he moves his feet. You can see the movements back, and yeah, and most importantly, he's fully motivated for this fight, and we're going to see a good performance next Saturday night.
A lot was made about obviously his shoulder with the Truex fight, but even if he was fully fit, do you think we would have still seen a lacklustre performance? Because it was Truex, no disrespect to him. As Eddie Hearn said, he's a buzz fighter. So do you think it was more down to the motivation side of things?
Do you know what? I think the injury was the main reason in the fight. But knowing James, he would have struggled motivationally to box Truex as well. And that's no disrespect to him. But James is a big fight. Like he turns up for the big fights. Yeah, he's a buzz fighter. And this one is a massive fight domestically. It's a grudge match. It's a rival match. And we're going to see a good fight next week. I can't wait.
When James has been in big fights before, Butte, Groves, DeGALE, seems like he's always had respect for the opponent. Even in the Groves fight, there was obviously needle, but there was respect. Does he respect Chris Eubank Jr.?
Yeah, I think he respects him as a fighter. They just don't get on as people. I think looking back on it now, when EUBANK started the whole Facebook messaging years ago, and then obviously come down to spar, and then sparks a little feud up down there. In his mind, his plan sort of worked really, because he's had a long-term plan to sort of, he's just built this up over and over and over, and now we're finally here. But yeah, to answer your question, I think James does respect him as a fighter. Whether he respects him or a person or not is irrelevant, because they're sharing the ring next week. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he respects him, yeah.
I think Chris is sort of basing his hopes on that James is going to fade away towards the end, maybe get a late stoppage, sort of outwork him towards the end. How do you think James will be over the 12 rounds? He goes 12 rounds.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I know he has that little switch off. He's always done it. We've always been on at him. Listen, Chunk, you can't just go 6 rounds up and switch off. It's a 12-round fight. Over the last couple of years, again, due to the injuries, as the fights have gone on, he's obviously struggled through the fights with his shoulder, his Achilles and whatever. But, you know, he's fully fit now. So we're expecting James DeGALE to box for 12 rounds. No switching off. Can't afford to switch off at this level. This is a grudge match. You can't afford to just drop 3-4 rounds in the middle of the fight. And you can't just build 6 rounds up and go and drop 4 rounds. It don't work like that. You want to be on it every single round for this fight. Don't make it close.
Could he do 15 rounds?
You have to ask the old man that one.
Coogan obviously done a long interview with James yesterday, and it was a brilliant sort of ending to the interview where he talked about your dad and the relationship he has, staying loyal to him. Said he's not all there, but he loves him nonetheless.
Do you know what? He probably ain't the only person that would say that as well. Indoors, we're always on at him indoors. But no, listen, the love that they've got for each other. You know, they've been together since day one. I've known James over 10 years now. We're all really close. We've all been away together on holidays and been out socialising with each other. But yeah, I mean, the bond they've got is very special, and you don't really see it nowadays in boxing. You won't really see a fighter and a coach really stick together from the professional debut all the way through to winning world titles, and obviously now being in these big pay-per-view fights. So yeah, it's just really nice to see.
I put that clip out on Instagram, and there's a few trainers, including Ben Davison, who, you know, they're all saying we really respect that. So yeah, it's good to see nowadays. I just want to talk about Team DeGALE. There's a new addition. Well, I say new. I didn't really know Paulie had been involved in the last few fights. Yeah,
so since after the Truex fight, James was like obviously a bit down in the dumps, and he was like, you know, am I going to box on? Am I not? Anyway, I got talking to Paulie and really liked Paulie's buzz. And yeah, Paulie's been involved since Truex 2. We was out in Vegas, but he was working for Showtime that night. So we was there obviously, and then we went to America, just in a little standard like 8 round. And Paulie weren't there for that one, but he's here for this one. And yeah, he's a good addition to the team. He's a good guy. Like, he's got some wicked stories. And yeah, listen, he's a man who's got plenty of knowledge. He's been there, done it at the highest level. And yeah, I think he's going to be a wicked addition to the team come fight night.
Now, my understanding is Showtime are actually showing this fight. So what, did he get let off for that? Or?
Do you know what? You'll have to ask him. I have no idea. I don't sort his diary out.
Well, he's apparently in the corner, but I'm assuming he can't be working for Showtime at the same time.
I'd pretty much imagine so, unless he's multi-talented and he can go from one desk and back in the corner. But I'm pretty sure he's in the corner come fight night.
You know what? I reckon if anyone could do it, Paulie could. He's just
he could. I reckon he could. He's a man of many talents. The Magic Man. The Magic Man, they call him, don't they?
Diego's not a fan of him, is he?
No, I see some videos yesterday on Coogan's thing. Diego, the little Frenchie, he was proper like, but he's boisterous anyway. Yeah, he's a bit mad. So yeah, but I think they're friends now anyway.
Is there a chance, even if DeGALE wins this fight next Saturday, that it could be the last time we see him in a ring?
Yeah, quite possibly. As I said earlier, James is a person who's motivated by big fights. He wants the big money. And if none of the fights are out there that tick his boxes, he'll walk away. And as he said, we was having this chat the other day. He said, "I don't need boxing. I'm financially secure. I'm happy. I've got all my faculties intact. I've done really well with boxing. Boxing's been good to me." And yeah, listen, this may be the last time we see James DeGALE box on Saturday night. So enjoy him while he's there, because you know, it's been a wicked career, and obviously we want it to continue. But you know, if he decides to call it a day after, he's achieved absolutely everything in the sport of boxing. And yeah, if the fights out there don't tick his boxes, he will walk away.
Obviously, he needs to win first, but if he looks sensational doing it, you know, boxing fans are going to call for the fights like Callum Smith. There's Benavidez out there. Potentially, I'm just throwing this in the hat. We've seen Canelo fight at 168. Yeah.
Canelo, again, that's a fight there, Canelo. That name there, as you just said it there, it's gone bing. That's the fight that would get James fully motivated. I think he's been a world champion. He's won his belt. He's not really motivated by it. Listen, he'd love to win a world title, of course he would, but he's not because he's done it. It's like been there, done it, got the t-shirt. But a super fight with Canelo in America would be massive, and I think everyone will tune in and watch that one.
I guess realistically, with him being with DAZN and James being with AHMED, it's not going to be the easiest fight to make. Just lastly, obviously George Groves announced his retirement a couple of weeks ago. What did you make of it? Yeah,
I think, listen, George has got to do what he's got to do. He's had a brilliant career. He's done what he set out to do. He won a world title. He's had a lot of injuries of himself, like with his shoulder and stuff, so maybe they've not helped him. Like, yeah, Edward Goodneck thing, he's looked at him and thought, listen, it's a tough sport. And obviously he's got a young family now as well to think about. So maybe he's looked at it and thought, you know what, I don't need to box no more. But listen, fair play to him. He was good for boxing. He was a character. Listen, I know him and James didn't get along, but he's been a character. And, you know, he's played his role well. And, yeah, he's had a wicked career.
He's had a couple of comments, though, George, from a few people. Obviously, Carl Froch made his comments. James called him a horrible geezer and said that it's going to be the shortest retirement ever. He'll come back out of it.
Listen, I'm not a mind reader and I can't see into the future. And I don't know what George wants to do. But listen, there's no... Them three, James, George and Carl, they're not each other's biggest fans, so they're always going to sort of go backwards and forwards. But listen, I don't know. He might be... has he done it as a plan to just retire? And, you know, should James come through EUBANK, he goes, right, well, I'll come back and fight, and everyone's calling for it again. I don't know what he's thinking. Personally, I think he has had the injuries and, you know, he's had a long, hard career, and I personally think that he is finished. But listen, nothing would surprise me in boxing. Nothing.
Listen, we look forward to next Saturday. Junior Mac Jr., thank you very much for talking to Umar. AFL Umar.